Hey guys, it's M here. This is actually my first ever video, so welcome everyone, I suppose. So today we've got why America makes Britain look like a tiny village. Now I know America's massive, so this should be fun. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next.
874 square miles is larger than not just London, but half of the English counties. Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to size. They say that size doesn't matter, but have they looked at a map recently? Because it does matter when you move from Britain to the United States of America. You see,
It is
somebody
crazy
once
how
said
much
that the
bigger it
biggest
is.
difference between Britain and America is that Americans think that 100 years is a long time and that the British think that 100 miles is a long way. And
I never actually thought about that. Just driving like 2-3 hours in the UK is a lot. In America, it's
definitely
nothing.
used to think like this. For instance, I used to think that travelling from my hometown of Grimsby to the city of Manchester was a long way, even though it was only 100 miles. But after moving to the United States, where long-distance commutes and cross-country road trips are not that unusual, I soon realised that Americans viewed 100 miles as no biggie. And as somebody who now fairly
It's
frequently
crazy,
does the
isn't it?
commute from Chicago to Indianapolis, I have fallen in line with my American comrades. But just in case you don't believe me, or in case you're one of those British people that I often hear about, that comes to the United States and expects to see New York City, Las Vegas, San Francisco, and the Grand Canyon all in one weekend, then allow me to present to you some maps. Some maps that highlight the scale of the United States in all its glory. Let's take a look. Firstly, let's take a look at the United States as a whole. If we include land and water, which we will be doing throughout this video, the United States has a total area of about
3.8 million. 3.8 million. I don't think the UK is even 100,000. Something like that, if I remember. My geography's not the greatest, but damn.
3.8 million square miles. In that respect, it could contain 40 not just Britons, but UKs. And for clarification, the UK is Britain plus Northern Ireland. The biggest country within the United Kingdom is my home country of England. And you've almost certainly heard that the United States has an entire region named after it. Let's have a look at how they compare. As the United States goes, New England is a relatively small area of land comprising 6 states: Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. And despite the fact that 5 of those states feature in a list of the 7 smallest, the New England states combined are almost 22,000 square miles bigger than England. In fact, you could throw in Wales and Northern Ireland and New England would still come out on top. But even when you add in Scotland, there are certain other states that are bigger than the entire United Kingdom. Now, long ago, I made a video on the 11 states that are larger than the UK. But this video was mostly crap, and the chief complaint about it was that I didn't show any maps, so you just had to imagine it. Well, to show that I've grown as a YouTuber, and to visually put these 11 states into a UK context, I've put together a graphic. Have you ever seen those videos that compare the size of the Earth to the size of the Sun, and then the Sun to the next biggest star, and the next biggest star to the next biggest star, and so on? Well, I thought it would be fun to do the same thing with the UK and its 11 American overlords. So here are 11 US states with a total area, that's land and water, that's larger than the UK.
Damn. Look how similar they are. Damn. It's crazy, isn't it? $121,000. California's just huge though, isn't it? Like, look at that. Damn, Texas. It's like triple the UK. God damn. Get triple.
Now, if this were a game of top trumps, the United States would be winning by a country mile. Sorry. So before we continue, I am going to throw in a fun fact that allows the UK a moment of glory. The most number of US states that you could collectively fit into the entire UK is 10. Now, admittedly, it is the smallest 10, and those are West Virginia, Maryland, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Hawaii, Connecticut, Delaware, and Rhode Island. But one thing that you might notice about all of those, with the exception of Hawaii, is that they are east of the Mississippi River. But once you go west, things become so big that your eyes fall off. And something that really seems to get bigger out west are counties. You may remember last year I did a video on the differences between British and American counties, and one of those differences was size. For context, I want you to keep in mind that the largest county in the UK is North Yorkshire. This clocks in at roughly 3,341 square miles. So it is itself more than half the size of Northern Ireland. Well, at this point in the video, it won't surprise you to hear that the United States has well over 100 counties larger than that, and the vast majority of them are out west. Now, if we allow for county equivalents like boroughs and census areas, Alaska has 2 county equivalents that are not just larger than North Yorkshire, but the entire United Kingdom. Alaska, you are massive and you need to be stopped. And you might say, well, Alaska's almost too massive, so this is just cheating. And it is true.
Yeah, I didn't realize how big Alaska was. Like, yeah, I knew it was big, but not that big.
Alaska is like the Galactus of American states. We should start calling it Galaska. But even if you drop down into the lower 48 contiguous states, there are some counties that are so big that they make certain countries look like quaint villages. Take, for example, the largest in the lower 48, San Bernardino County in California. At over 20,000 square miles, it's approximately 4 times the size of Northern Ireland and more than twice the size of Wales. And it's not alone. San Bernardino County is one of 10 counties with a square mile area of 5 digits. Now, in both Britain and America, within your average county, you'll probably find a city or two, and it'll be of no surprise to you whatsoever that America's largest cities are larger than the UK's largest cities.
I mean, no
In the
brainer there.
UK, the largest city by total area is comfortably London. In fact, at 671 square miles, it is the 3rd largest in Europe. Now, it's important to remember that that's before we take into account the wider metropolitan area. And indeed, before we do that, there are several cities in the United States that are considerably larger than 671 square miles. Surprisingly, none of these go by the name of New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles, though this changes somewhat when we do account for each city's metropolitan area. But again, before we do that, I've said do twice. The largest 4 places in America that you could reasonably define as a city are all located in Alaska. Anchorage, Juneau, Wrangell, and Sitka all measure well into the thousands of square miles.
That place is huge.
Now again, it's super Alaska. Everything is huge. So instead, let's take a look at the opposite end of the country down in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida is surprisingly massive, owing partly to the fact that it consolidated with Duval County in 1968. Nonetheless, when you add up its water and land area, Jacksonville is the largest city in the lower 48. And at 874 square miles is larger than not just London, but half of the English counties. Now, if you take into account the metropolitan areas of both Jacksonville and London, Jacksonville marginally comes out on top. And that's despite the fact, yes, I changed my shirt, and that's despite the fact that Jacksonville is significantly down the pecking order when it comes to America's largest metropolitan areas. In terms of square mileage, there are dozens across the country that outmatch it, but none more so than the San Bernardino metropolitan area, otherwise known as the Inland Empire. The Riverside San Bernardino, Ontario metropolitan area covers more than 27,000 square miles, almost the total area of Scotland. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below some of the experiences you've had in the United States that have really highlighted its enormity. Be sure to share this video with your friends and family.
We all know America's way bigger than the UK, but like just seeing a comparison puts it into perspective, like really. But yeah, obviously I'm still very new to this, so let me know any suggestions if you have any in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in a bit.